After writing 2 transformational books myself and supporting many other beings to do the same, I've become enthralled by the deep and mysterious magic that's activated when we choose to say yes to ourselves and commit to the book writing journey. Of course, we want to inspire change and new perspectives in our readers, but the transformation that happens as an author, both throughout the writing process and by actually releasing your book into the world, is surprisingly potent. I know I've been blindsided in the most disruptive and delicious ways by some of the changes my books have brought into my life. Writing a book is like casting a spell. Although we can never be completely sure what's going to be unleashed during the process, we choose to do it anyway. This Unbound one is a heroic journey. Each book has the potential to be a magical portal, a doorway to a new world, both for you and your reader. Each book has a very specific medicine that it's here to share with us. And each book gives us the opportunity to alchemize the magnificent imperfection of our experience into gold. The truth is that anyone can write a book. We could all get a few thousand words down and put them together. But what fascinates me is what happens when we allow the book writing process to go deeper. When we say, fuck it, get naked and dive way down beneath the surface. Letting go of the shoulds and any need to be acceptable, sensible, or approved of. What fascinates me is what happens when we make ourselves fully available to being transformed by the very act of writing a book. This is Unbound Writing, and this is the process we'll be exploring together here in the Unbound Writers Club. I'm Nicola, author and founder of the Unbound Press, and I help magical beings to write the transformational book they're really here to write at this time. I'm your guide here in the Unbound Writers Club, and the aim of this podcast is to help you to feel supported, encouraged, activated as you embark on your book writing journey. Whether you're a first-time author or have many books out in the world, my hope is that you will find something here to inspire you. Let's dive in. Hello and welcome to the Unbound Writers Club. Today I am joined by one of our amazing Unbound Press authors, Sarika Jain. Sarika is the author of the 90-Day Soulmate Plan, Get Out of Your Own Way and Attract the Higher Love You Deserve. So this book was a revolutionary way of attracting your soulmate and creating the relationship, but the kind of relationship you could only dream of. And, you know, it is a step-by-step plan, but Sarika and I talk about this during our conversation. Like it's not your normal step-by-step plan. Like Sarika's work is so profound, so rich. And it's like a dating guide like no other. Sarika shares her story, like her personal story and experience during the book, and also the experiences of some of the clients that she's worked with. And yeah, it's just such a wise and rich book. During this conversation, Sarika and I talk about, you know, what inspired her to write the book, what her process was like, and also the fact that she is not just birthing a book at the moment. So you're going to want to listen in to hear some more about that. I'm excited for you to meet Sarika. So let's dive in. So Sarika, welcome to the Unbound Writers Club.
Thank you. So excited to be here.
Oh, me too. Me too. It's such a delight to have you here on the podcast. And I always start these conversations with the same question. And I'm curious to hear your answer. And that is, what does it mean to you to be an unbound writer?
Yeah, the moment I heard your idea around being unbound, it attracted me. And I remember reading your book, Unbound, and meeting you. And I was just very moved by this idea that, you know, you could just have this uninhibited space to write whatever you want and see what emerges without the pressures of timelines or, regular discipline and the things that normal authors face while writing a book. And that attracted me because it felt very feminine and inspired. And so I'm really into holding space and being held in space. I mean, being held. And I really think that just having a nurturing environment to create something is powerful. And I was drawn to the Unbound writers community for that reason.
Gorgeous, gorgeous, and such a joy to have you as a member of
Thank you.
the Unbound writing community and the Unbound Press family as well. Yeah. And now your book is being birthed into the world, which is so exciting. I mean, did you always want to write?
Yes, I think I've been an avid reader since I was 5 or 6 years old. I would get the most number of gold stars in class for reading the most number of books. I've just been into reading books and even writing. And so I just felt being an author was in my bones. And I was waiting for a moment when it felt right to write and publish. And so, yeah, I would say so.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Like I always kind of think of you and feel that you're a writer. So it's great that like your first book is going out into the world. And tell us a little bit about the book, the 90-day Soulmate Plan.
Yeah, sure. So the 90-day Soulmate Plan follows my journey of going from single and going from broken relationship to finally finding my soulmate and my process through it. And of course, the process involved a lot of self-love, releasing spiritual blocks that I had, and stepping into my feminine power. And I believe that we all have both masculine and feminine sides. And it was just more about reclaiming that side of me, my intuitive, sexy, wise side. And so the book is basically my program, my coaching program, how I coach other women in finding their soulmates. And what I really care about is finding relationships or soulmate relationships that last, that are soul shaking, that are soul connected, and creating the conditions for healthy love to grow within a relationship. And that begins when you're single. And so this book is for women and men, if men are drawn to this, but for women who are looking for their partners and want to kind of follow like a step-by-step program for meeting their partners. And it's so funny because I cringe at step-by-step programs. Like the whole point of joining the Unbound group was to not be in a step-by-step program. But at the same time, I feel like love is so nebulous and unstructured, and it can feel like going through a jungle. And so having a process that you're going through that you can lean on, that feels nurturing and heart opening and like just filled with self-love, I think it does serve a purpose. And so, yeah, I would say that's what inspired me to write this book. And I want this method and this message to get out to as many people as possible, because I don't think everyone needs to find private coaching. If private coaching is something that you're drawn to, or group coaching you're drawn to, that's great. I mean, I love coaching, but I think just being activated, we all have the wisdom within us to be in healthy relationships, to find that healthy relationship, or to manifest what we want in our lives. And sometimes we just need to be activated. And that's what this book helps do.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, I get what you mean, like by the step-by-step plan. But I just want to say, like, this book is by no means, it's not surface level at all. You go deep with the reader, and you talked about kind of having space held for you. And I really feel that this book and you as the author really holds the reader, like holds really gorgeous space for the reader through the process. So
Thank
It's
you.
incredibly powerful. As you were talking there, Sarika, I was thinking like the word soulmate, it gets kind of bandied about a lot. A lot of people talk about soulmates, and I'm curious to know, like what is a soulmate to you? That's quite a
Such
big
a great question. And it's so funny because even up to this year, I was like, do I believe in soulmates? Or is there one soulmate? What's a twin flame? And there are all these terms thrown around. And I just think that a soulmate is someone that you connect with at a soul level, and that could be friends, it could be your pet, it could be your significant other. And so you could have many soulmates, I guess, but I think that there usually is someone that you connect with on a soul level and that you manifest into your life. Like you, through a creative process, you envision what you want in your life, what kind of partnership, you begin to align with your vision, and you find a partner who wants to grow in that vision together with you, and journey this life with you. Whether that relationship lasts forever, I mean, I don't know, but at least it's someone who wants to journey with you. And so I would say that would be a soulmate.
I love that way of describing it. And it like for me, that acknowledges that it's not all about kind of rainbows and unicorns.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's somebody to journey with, like we learn lessons together. And that can be challenging as well, but the relationship can be all the richer for that as well.
Absolutely. It's like it's a healing relationship, an alchemical relationship where you're holding space for helping each other heal inner wounds and grow as individuals, or even co-create together, grow together as partners.
Yeah, gorgeous. So what I love about this book is, it's this really amazing process that you take the reader through. And you're also sharing like your own personal story as well, certainly elements of your story, which, I just find like incredibly powerful. And I'm wondering, what's it like? And what was it like to write it in that way? And now to know that the book is going to be going out there into the world, how do you feel?
It feels cathartic, to be honest. I think that my story, I worked with a psychic in New York, and I had all these like ups and downs in my relationships that I talked about, and my sabotage patterns, and my relationship with men and other women. And so it did feel vulnerable to talk about all of these things, but it also felt cathartic to be able to share it, because it's like, it's sitting at the tip of my tongue and I want to talk about it. But then, for a long time, I was really embarrassed to share that I worked with a psychic in New York City very intimately, or like overcoming self-disdain, or, feeling loveless, or feeling like having so much self-pity and poor sexual or body image issues or whatever. And so I think that writing this book, but also including client stories as well, helped me feel just like whatever is most personal ends up being the most relatable, right? And what I've found is that readers really relate to the deeply personal stuff, actually, even more than my client stories. And so that feels great. That feels like my journey was worth it, of having gone through my own ups and downs and finding my partner, but also learning to love myself, and being able to share that with others. And so I feel it feels free.
Yeah. And actually, like when I think about you, Sarika, like I see you as somebody, or I've always, like since we've known each other, and certainly over the past few years, seen you as somebody who is willing to share their story, like whether it's in the form of writing, or in your emails that you send, or social media, like you are willing to share yourself and your experience.
Yeah,
really
that's true.
beautiful way. So I really appreciate that about you.
Thank you.
So tell us about your process for writing. It started like a few years ago now, wasn't it, when you first started the process of
Yeah. So
writing
we started
the book?
2020, and I remember waking up on January 1st in 2020 or December 31st, I forget, and 2019. And I was like, what? I just had a baby. So I had a baby and I'm pregnant again, which is
Yeah.
awesome, right? So, I wanted to do something for my work that I felt would be stimulating while I'm taking care of a newborn, because I just need to feel connected. I need to feel connected to the world, and coaching or writing is my way. And so I asked the universe, like, show me signs of what my purpose is in 2020. And I kept getting, write a book. And then I saw your email around joining the Unbound Writers Club. And I was like, all right, let's do it. And so my process was just spending an hour every day writing about anything. You had a whole process around journal prompts, and we had the mastermind groups. And so I just allowed myself to write whatever. And then I was like, well, let me just write about my book, my process, because that's always been my intention is to write this down
Mm.
at some point. So I ended up just every day earmarking 1 or 2 hours stream of consciousness writing. And I ended up writing like 500 pages worth of material. And it was just like a good first round of, just getting my thoughts down on paper. And then I talked to you about like, well, how do I turn this into a book? And I came up with this idea of, well, I'm going to create this into a 90-day program, because that's how I met my husband in 90 days, actually, when I started my journey. And not that we fell in love in 90 days, but that's the time that it took to actually meet him from a breakup. And I have this process down. So maybe I'll journey with women in rewriting my book and have them go through a 90-day process in the book. So I created like a little book club, and I invited readers, like a set group of readers, to, like, I would send them like 2 or 3 chapters a week to do, or I forget, 1 chapter a week over 13 weeks. And that forced me to take whatever I had, those 500 pages, and turn it into something that was like readable, that I knew that I had like a little audience for. And it was great. It was like a little accountability group. And then I met with the group for every 2 weeks, and they would give me feedback. And so it felt like a very co-creative process. And again, I would say that that's something that you helped me birth and envision as an idea to do. And I like that. I like the co-creative aspect of that. And so that was my process of creating this book.
Amazing. And I just feel like that's a really great kind of tip or inspiration for somebody listening who's writing a book. Maybe they've started, or they're just having trouble bringing it all together. I think to actually, like you say, have a group who are going through the process with you, and be like sharing a chapter or 2 with them, like every week, every couple of weeks, getting feedback and seeing how the process, like, obviously the book is like your process that you have used with many clients, but like to have that sense of engagement as you're actually bringing it together is so powerful. And you can tell from reading the book, it's got that really dynamic quality, which I love. Absolutely love it.
Thank you. Yeah. And it made motherhood so much more fun, I will say. I think Virginia Woolf said every woman needs a room of her own. And so I think that's true with moms, new moms or moms with older kids or whatever, but having that little private space to yourself to, in this case, I was writing and, creating my own little community to help me finish the book. It was fun. And it made the rest of my motherhood experience and the 2020 pandemic experience a lot more meaningful.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, let's not talk about
Right. A lot
2020.
happened in 2020, right?
Yeah, there's so much we could talk about there, but yeah, anyway.
Hmm. I know, right?
So now here we are in 2022. So,
Hmm.
we're 2.5 years down the line. And, you did kind of pause with the book. Like it was pretty much ready to go. And then you were
Hmm.
like, actually, you know, something happened and you were like, actually, yeah, I'm just gonna sit with it for a while. So can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah. So I was ready to go,
Mm,
but I literally just didn't feel ready in terms of marketing and publicity or anything around the book. Like I just I didn't I mean, even though there were many avenues that I could explore, I personally just didn't feel ready for that. And around the same time, I had reached out to different authors, especially well-known authors in the soulmate space,
mm,
and a few of them responded to give me endorsements. And one of them responded. Her name is Ariel Ford. She's a number one author in the soulmate space, and she said, your book is great, but you don't have an author platform. Why don't you build that first, and then share your book? And so I've always thought about having an author platform, and that was the one thing that I was always, it was always a chicken and egg problem of like, do you need an author platform first before you write your book? But in this case, I decided to write my book without worrying about how I would market it or
mm.
whatever. And so I decided to, you know, um, invite her as my mentor, and also just take a pause and focus on building my author platform. And also just, I'm kind of a stay-at-home mom, so like taking things slowly and mindfully, like enjoying my kids while they're still young. Again, it was pandemic time, so kids were at home. And so just recognizing that things take time, and allowing myself to have that time and space to allow for the natural emergence of, marketing this, publishing and marketing this book.
Yeah.
And so I did take a pause. And then suddenly, recently, while I was like, okay, I was pregnant, I couldn't do anything related to my book anyways, because I just had so much, nausea and, different pregnancy symptoms throughout my pregnancy that I really had to slow down on my work front. And that was a lot of acceptance, and now that I'm reaching closer to my delivery date, I was like, well, let me just publish this book too. Like,
Mhm.
what's the big deal? So I felt like my inhibition kind of just dropped, and who I am, where I am in my journey, like all of that just stopped mattering, and not trying to do things perfectly, and just letting what wants to be birthed through me now be birthed. And it felt right. It just felt right to birth my book as well.
Yeah, I mean, you're pretty much literally doing it at the same time because the
I'm
baby
doing it
is
at the
due.
same time. Yeah, I'm at 37 weeks with my pregnancy, so I could actually give birth any moment.
Yeah.
And I was like, great, let me just birth this book too.
It's amazing. I mean,
Yeah.
I always trust like the timing of books, like the timing of our author, like when it feels right. And this just feels so perfect to me that, you're birthing this book, you're birthing a baby. It's just like that energy
It's a
feels,
similar
of
energy,
course,
right?
of
Yeah,
course.
yeah.
So I just want to say to people listening, like obviously you don't have to be pregnant and about to, give birth before your birth.
Probably not the best time for
I love that you're just harnessing, you're going all in
yeah.
with this birthing energy. So yeah, the book, like as this podcast episode is making its way into the world, the book will be out there. We're releasing the ebook version of it initially, and then the paperback version will follow in a few weeks. And
Mhm.
I think the intention is just to do it with as much ease as possible.
Mhm.
And you're going to be having this well, as the episode goes out, you would have had this gorgeous kind of book blessing combined with a baby shower, which I love that you're doing that as well.
Yeah, it's funny. I was telling a friend about it, and he said, "Oh, I just attended a baby and book shower the other day." And I was like, "What? It's a thing?"
What?
Yeah, I know. Who would have thought? Yeah.
Oh my
So
goodness.
apparently babies and books go well together. Yeah.
Yeah, obviously that's a whole new area. I'm just like, my mind is blown. But of course, because
It was in New York City, so
yeah,
Brooklyn.
I thought it might be.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, how amazing. How amazing. So what is your hope for the book, Sarika? What's your intention for the 90-day soulmate plan?
Yeah, my intention is to activate as many people onto the path of healthy love,
Mm,
and knowing and believing that healthy love with the right partner, with the right soulmate partner, is possible.
mm,
And heart openings, like I just envision millions and millions and billions of people's hearts open, not just through my book, but just through my intention with sharing this book and writing on the energy that I believe is blossoming on this earth, around heart opening and seeking healthy relationships. And so I just envision being part of that movement,
mm.
part of that
God, yeah.
rising in consciousness around love and relationships and living more heart open lives.
Mm. Oh wow, yeah. I'm so feeling that heart opening right now. Like that energy seems to be building, even when it's not
Mm-hmm.
obvious by looking at what's going on
Yeah,
in the
right,
other
right.
world. But I'm really feeling that. So, and I love that your work and your book is part of that. I'm just so grateful to you, Sarika, for being part of the Unbound writing community, and choosing to share this book out into the world. For people who
Thank
want to
you.
know more about
Likewise.
you, and
Hmm.
yeah, for people who want to know more about you and your work, what's the best way for them to do that?
Yeah, just go to my website, www.sarikajain.com, my first and last name.com,
Mhm.
and or buy this book.
Yeah.
The book's going to be out on the 13th. I think you're going to love it. And I'm sharing a lot of fun resources in the book as well. So no matter, no matter if you do this book in 90 days or a year, it doesn't matter. It's reading through this book, doing the exercises is definitely going to shift you energetically, emotionally, and spiritually. So on every level. And so I'm excited to connect with you that way,
Yeah,
either through
absolutely.
my book or through any of my other offerings.
Yeah, gorgeous. Yeah, we'll make sure that the links are in the show notes. And I just want to say, as we finish, like, even as somebody, I've been married for 10 plus years, I just took so much from the book when I was reading it. I just think it's really helpful for people who are already in a relationship as well. So,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Absolutely. I think that everything I've shared in the book actually helps release the blocks that even sabotage our existing relationships,
Exactly. Yeah.
And I think everyone, like, we're all, if we want to be happy in our relationships, there are some key things that we could be doing to align ourselves with that nourishing, healthy, pleasure-filled love that we desire. And this book gives a recipe for that.
Completely. It's not like we get into a relationship and we're done.
No,
Back to do.
that's when it begins.
Exactly.
For many of us.
Oh, Sarika, thank you so much for being in the Unbound Writers Club today. It's just been a joy to speak with you.
Thank you, Nicola. I so appreciate you and the community. Thank you so much.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you.